Photo. Time. 10:57. Speech off. Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, for the past couple days, it's kind of been somber around the dojo here. I'm sure you guys have known. I'm sure you guys can hear it in my voice. We lost 3 incredible people this week. 3 people that I would say are heroes to the people who grew up with them, and heroes to the generation that followed after the generation that grew up with them. So in this video, to celebrate these 3 people, and I'm going to tell you who they are in a minute. I'm sure you've probably already guessed by now one of them. Just seeing the picture here on your screen. I wanted to talk about heroism. I wanted to pose the question to you, the audience, the viewer, the listener. What does it mean to be a hero? Right? Now, if you ask my opinion, Dolly Parton, Tim Curry, and Peter Cullen were heroes. Yes, they were Hollywood celebrities. Yes, they were singers, actors, voice actors. But I believe that they were heroes. They were guiding lights to guide us all, to show us what not only being a hero is all about, but just being yourself. I'm sure you've heard it since Dolly Parton passed away, of how herself she really was. That, yes, she was happy-go-lucky. Yes, she always had a smile on her face. Yes, she was the kindest person that you'd ever want to meet. Rest in peace. But she never changed who she was. She never changed for anybody else. She kept her tenacity. She kept being bold. She kept being innovative. Excuse me. She never stopped, right? She worked hard throughout her life. And she left not only an impression, but a wonderful legacy. She showed us that hard work does pay off, but also living the dream, and excuse me if I impart some NFB philosophy here, National Federation of the Blind, but she showed that when you live the life that you want, that you leave a lasting impression, that you leave a lasting legacy. Tim Curry did the same thing. He was an actor. He was well known for Rocky Horror Picture Show and, some other things that he'd done. And again, whether it be just acting in a movie, whether it be, and I think Tim Curry was like a bad guy. You'll have to forgive me because I'm not really familiar with Tim Curry. I'm not even that familiar with Dolly Parton, just because I didn't listen to country music growing up. And of course, she was born before I was even thought of, Tim Curry was in Rocky Horror Picture Show, which was before my time. He did some other things that growing up I probably didn't know he was in or I didn't watch. But, they left a lasting impression. And then finally I find out today that Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime from Transformers, the voice from Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, is gone. He left this world peacefully. And to many, he was a hero. He was the voice of a alien robotic organism or truck that embodied the spirit of all of us, of humans. He was a hero to many. And now, before I go on to my question, I want to tell you how I remember Peter Cullen, because you have to remember Transformers was before I was born, okay? I didn't watch the reruns of Transformers when I was a kid. I was a Disney kid. I was a Marvel kid. I was a Star Wars kid. I was an anime kid growing up in the 90s. I watched Darkwing Duck. I watched Goof Troop. I watched Tailspin. I watched Gargoyles. I watched the Power Rangers. I watched Digimon. I watched Pokemon. I watched Spider-Man, the animated series. X-Men, the animated series. And a whole bunch of other stuff when I was growing up. And yes, even Voltron and some other stuff. But I remember Peter Cullen, and we've talked here in the dojo on the channel before about Toonami. I remember Peter Cullen because he would do the promos for some of the shows for Toonami. Most notably, he did the promos for Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, Gundam 8th MS Team, Mobile Suit Gundam, Rurouni Kenshin. He did the voiceover for Voltron in the 80s. He did all of these things. And he did the advertiser voiceover, because we all know that Steve Bloom, Sonny Strait and Steve Bloom were the voices of Tom. And I also forgot C. Martin Kroger. C. Martin Kroger did the voice of Moltar for Toonami and its launching. Did that for about a couple years. Then Sonny Strait came in. And did the voice for Tom 1 for Toonami. And then Steve Bloom took it over from him and remained Tom ever since. But if you guys remember Toonami, and I know a lot of you are out there, you guys will remember the big guy, right? And that was Peter Cullen. Besides Tom, Peter Cullen would always say, every weekday at 4, Cartoon Network's building you a better cartoon show. We call it Toonami, right? Tom would do it, but Peter Cullen would also do that too. In fact, for those of you who remember Toonami in 2001, which I still remember this promo, it was a PlayStation 2 style promo for Toonami, and he did every weekday. Of course, back then it was on at 5. Every weekday at 5, Cartoon Network's building you a better cartoon show. The whole gag, okay? But that's how I knew him. And then when the Michael Bay Transformers came out, I recognized the voice instantly. Now, some of you may recognize it as Optimus Prime, but for me, I was like, wait a minute, I know that voice. That's not. I'm like, oh, that's the guy from Toonami. That was him. And he did some other voices too, like in Transformers. He did Ironhide. He did some other stuff. But the reason why I wanted to talk about what does it mean to be a hero, or what does being a hero mean, is because I want to hear your thoughts. Because we all say that Optimus, Peter Cullen, Team Curry, Tim, Tom Curry, I think it was. Anyway, we all say that these people are heroes. But what is a hero? See, a hero, in my opinion, isn't just somebody that puts on a costume, puts on a mask, maybe drives a fancy car, Batman, who flies around the city with a big S on his chest, going around saving people. Maybe it's not even a guy with a spider on his chest. I want to quote Hercules, Disney's Hercules, for a second, and say that for a true hero isn't measured by the size of his by the size of his strength, but by the strength of his heart. Dolly Parton, Tom Curry, Peter Cullen. They were heroes because it wasn't about their strength, the size of their strength. It wasn't about their muscles. It wasn't about, that they could go into a burning building and save people. It was because they had compassion. They were heroes because they had the strength of heart to go out and just be themselves. That they had the guts to go out and, in the case of Dolly Parton, wear whatever she wanted to wear, say whatever she was going to say. And that's not to say that she didn't care about what she said, because I'm pretty sure she did. But she said it in a way where it was understanding. It was gentle. It was compassionate. Tom Curry, he was an actor. And he went out and he made good movies that everybody could make them laugh. It was funny. He could make you forget about the times, that made you feel bad. Even though I think sometimes he was a villain, but what do I know? And then there was Peter Cullen. And Peter Cullen, if you had the opportunity out there to meet him at a convention, I've heard that he was very generous and loving towards the fans. And he would sit and he would talk. And he was the kindest person you'd ever want to meet. And if you hear his story of how he got into voice acting, you'll see that he was just a good-hearted, gentle person, and that's where his strength came from. And he transferred that into Optimus Prime, into the things that he voice acted, into the characters, that he voice acted, and he left a long legacy. I started this by saying, what is a hero? What are the mannerisms of a hero. And I'll end it with this quote from Transformers: The Last Knight. It's not one of the most popular Michael Bay movies, but I think it'll do just fine when speaking about these three individuals. At the heart of every legend, there is truth. Oh, hold on, guys. Hold on. I just heard this quote earlier. Oh, yeah. At the heart of every legend, there is truth. A few brave souls unite to save their worlds. We can be heroes in our own lives if we only have the courage to try. These three individuals lived their lives. They lived the lives that they wanted. And it wasn't easy. It was hard. But because of that hard work, because of everything that they went through, they paved the way for us. They were our guiding lights. And here today, on August 27th, 2026, here on this channel, and I'm sure some of your favorite other channels are doing this too, we honor them. And we tell them that we will keep their legacy strong. And thank you for being our heroes. So go out there. Whether you are a Super Saiyan at heart, not by strength, but by heart. Whether you are a Super Saiyan, whether you are a student, whether you are a demon slayer, go out and be a hero. Go out with love in your heart, with strength in your heart. Go out there and be a hero for somebody. Because I will say this, in this time, in this world right now, we need heroes. Honest people, heroes. So I will end this video, not with the usual customary things that I say to you, but I'll end it with this. A quote from Optimus Prime. And I think it speaks volumes here. Our races are united by a history long forgotten and a future we shall face together. I am Optimus Prime, and I send this message so that our past will always be remembered. For in those memories, we live on.